尊敬的十瓦部主席
Speaking to the World Economic Forum, ordinarily hosted in the Swiss ski resort of Davos but held virtually this year due to the pandemic, President Xi said confrontation would lead the world to a dead end. To build small circles or start a new Cold War, to reject, threaten or intimidate others and willfully impose decoupling, supply distribution or sanctions, and to create isolation or estrangement will only push the world into division and even confrontation, he said.
For the first time in history, the economies of all regions have been hit hard at the same time, with global industrial and supply chains clogged and trade and investment down in the doldrums. Despite the trillions of dollars in relief packages worldwide, global recovery is rather shaky, and the outlook remains uncertain. We need to focus on current priorities and balance COVID response and economic development. Macroeconomic policy support should be stepped up to bring the world economy out of the woods as early as possible. More importantly, we need to look beyond the horizon and strengthen our will and resolve for change. We need to shift the driving forces and the growth models of the global economy and improve its structure, so as to set the course for long-term, sound and steady development of the world economy.
President Xi's speech to the annual Talkfest was his first since 2017 and was widely aimed at Joe Biden, who was inaugurated as US president last week. His predecessor, Donald Trump, used tariffs and sanctions to try to reduce the United States' reliance on China as part of his decoupling strategy. The West's reliance on Chinese supply lines shot to the prominence more broadly during the coronavirus pandemic as countries raced to secure limited supplies of medical protective equipment and ventilators. Xi did not raise global criticisms of China's bullish conduct since the pandemic and instead hit out at big countries trying to coerce smaller ones into submission, a reference to the rhetoric adopted by the former US administration. The strong should not bully the weak, he said. Decisions should not be made by simply showing off strong muscles or waving a big fist. President Xi strongly backed multilateralism as the solution of the intricate and complex problems facing the world, primarily through the architecture of the United Nations, and claimed that China was a staunch supporter of an independent foreign policy of peace. China is working hard to bridge differences through dialogue and resolve disputes through negotiation, he said. Without international law and international rules that were formed and recognized by the global community, the world might fall back to the law of the jungle, and the consequence would be devastating for humanity, he said.